My name is Mary Skeens, and I'd like to welcome you to the January 21st, 2026 meeting of the Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission. If the other commissioners would please introduce themselves, starting from my right.
Stu Nichols.
Betty Turner.
Keith Peterson.
Catherine Maggot.
Warshay Downing.
Erica Glass.
Paul G. Gilman Sr.
Ted Oliver.
Thank you. Please note that this meeting is being conducted in person and online, and if anyone is participating online that would need help with Zoom, please email Luke Carter at Lucas, L-U-C-A-S Carter, C-A-R-T-E-R, at greensboro-nc.gov. Members of this commission are appointed by the City Council, and we serve without pay. The commission reviews all original zoning and annexation cases and rezoning requests for the City of Greensboro. Each commissioner normally visits each site prior to this meeting. The procedure used for all public hearings is as follows. The planning staff will present background information and make the staff recommendation. The applicant will then present a short summary on how he or she communicated with the neighborhood and why the request is reasonable. Other persons in favor of the request may speak for a total of 10 minutes, and this time is shared with the applicant. Speakers opposed to the request will then share 10 minutes of speaking time. Those in favor of the request will share 5 minutes of rebuttal time, and then those in opposition to the request will then have 5 minutes of rebuttal time. At the end of the speaking time, we will close the public hearing. Any commission member may ask questions once a presenter has completed their presentation. All commissioners are required to vote unless they have a conflict of interest. In an effort to run the meeting more efficiently, the commission may reorganize the meeting agenda. In cases in which there is no opposition being expressed to the planning department or in which no speakers have signed up to speak in opposition, in which the commission members don't feel necessitates an in-depth discussion, those items will be moved to the top of the agenda. Staff will provide a shortened presentation for those expedited cases, and applicants, if desired, will have 2 minutes to address the commission to provide any additional information they want the commission to know. Expedited cases will then follow the procedures previously outlined in terms of time to speak. When speaking here tonight, please direct all questions and comments to the Planning and Zoning Commission, not to staff, and the Commission will then ask staff to comment on any questions. When a case is called that you're interested in, please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record. If you're participating online, please find and use the raise hand function under the reaction button. You will be called upon to speak in the order in which hands were raised. All approved and or denied cases receiving 6 or more votes will constitute final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the planning department and the appeal fee is paid within 10 days. All cases involving a majority of favorable votes but less than 6 will be subject to a public hearing by the City Council. Also, any cases involving an annexation are also subject to final approval by the City Council. Participants in the Zoom meeting will be able to view the meeting and speak when they are called upon. This meeting is being recorded and televised on Greensboro Television Network, and in addition, the telecast is being closed captioned for the hearing impaired. Now we'll hear from our attorney regarding additional items we need to consider.
Thank you, Chair Skeens, and good evening, everyone. Tonight, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear a number of rezoning applications. And I'd like to remind everyone in attendance that when the Commission considers these applications, its determinations are based on the land uses allowed under the zoning district that's been put forth in the application and any conditions that have been proposed along with that by the applicant. A new note I want to add for clarity's sake. These decisions, these rezoning decisions, take broad policy questions into account, and those considerations are summarized by the factors outlined in the reasonableness statement that you will hear the commissioners read when they make a motion at the end of considering these items. Now, land use impacts on public infrastructure are relevant in rezoning matters, and it's important to know that the Commission is not here to decide every detail of a development. That process involves staff input and evaluation that goes beyond the forum here this evening. If rezoning would generate a certain amount of traffic flow, commissioners will have been provided a summary traffic impact study, for example. Meanwhile, many site-specific development features, such as the means of stormwater management, are evaluated through the technical review committee subsequent to this process. Lastly, concerns that are not related to land use are not germane to the Commission's considerations of rezoning applications. For example, generalized concerns about crime rates or questions of who in particular may own or live at or use a property are not within the scope of permissible considerations for the Commission. If there's questions about matters that aren't addressed during this evening's proceedings, those can be referred to the Planning Department or to City Technical staff as appropriate. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you. Let's look at the minutes from the December 15th meeting. Open for a motion to approve.
Move to approve the
Second.
December 15, 2025 meeting.
Okay, we have a
Gilmer.
motion from Mr. Gilmer and a second by Ms. Magid to approve the minutes as written. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Minutes are approved. Do we have any withdrawals or continuances tonight?
We do not.
Okay. We're now going to move to the public hearings. We have 3 cases that do have opposition, and that's 3800 Pine Needle, Z2601001, 3804 Pine Needle, that's Z26010-002, and both of those involved in annexation, and 2533 Phillips Avenue, that's Z26010-006. Are there any other cases on the agenda tonight that folks are in opposition that have not signed up? Then we will move into... Oh, okay. And which case? Okay, we've got those. Okay, you'll have an opportunity to come to the mic when we get to that case. Okay. Then we look at our agenda, and the first case, we'll be hearing the expedited cases first. So the first case we'll be hearing is Z-26-01-003 and annexation case 2603. That is 125 Vivian Lane in a portion of Vivian Lane right-of-way.
Thank you, Chair Skeens.
Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. This is the zoning map showing that the subject property contains approximately 1.48 acres, and there had previously been a typo on the agenda showing a lesser amount. That 1.48 acres includes the right-of-way distance. And this is located north of Vivian Lane and west of Humble Road. This is an annexation, an original zoning request from County Agricultural to City R3, Residential Single Family 3. North, south, and west of the request are zoned County Ag, and south of the request is zoned City R3 as well. The aerial map shows that the subject property currently contains a single-family home. North, east, and south of the request also contain single-family dwellings, and west of the request contains undeveloped land. And in recommending approval of the request, staff noted that the GSO 2040 comprehensive plan designates this site as urban general on the future built form map and as residential on the future land use map. The proposed original zoning request supports both the comprehensive plan's Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices, and the Building Community Connections goal to maintain stable, attractive, and healthy places to live and raise families. And in recommended approval, staff noted that the proposed R3 zoning district is primarily intended to accommodate low-density, single-family detached residential development of up to 3 dwelling units per acre, and that the request permits uses that are present on adjacent tracts. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions of staff? Thank you. Would the applicant like 2 minutes to elaborate any on this case? I'm not seeing any, so we will close the public hearing. This case will involve a motion for annexation and a motion for the original zoning. Any discussion and or motion?
Commissioner Keith Pearce, I make a motion that we annex PLP 26-03 125 Vivian Lane.
Second, Warshay Downey.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the annexation from Keith and Washay the second. All in favor of approving this annexation on Vivian Lane signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously. Moving on to the rezoning, and this will be a recommendation to council.
Commissioner Keith Peterson, item Z-26-01-003, the Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its actions to recommend approval of the original zoning request for the property at 125 Vivian Lane and a portion of Vivian Lane right-of-way from County AG Agriculture to City R3 Residential Single Family to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan, and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public's interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan Future Built Form Map and Fan Use Map. The proposed City R3 zoning district permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on adjacent properties. This request is reasonable due to the size, physical condition, and other attributes of the area, and it will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public's interest.
Stu Nichols, I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the zoning. All in favor, signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
All right, that is a unanimous vote of 9-0. This constitutes a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 City Council meeting. And why do we have a statement for 1169 Pleasant Ridge on the screen?
Because that is a typo, and that should be 129 Vivian Lane.
Yeah.
The body of the text was correct.
Yeah.
It was a typo.
It was read.
Just
it was
make
read
sure
correct.
we approve the right thing for the right piece of property.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for checking.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. Peterson read the correct information. We were listening.
Very good. All right, now we are moving on to the next case, which is Z2601-004. This is a rezoning request from R5 Residential Multifamily 5 and CDRM 8 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 8 to CDRM 8 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 8 for the properties identified as 3821 and 3823 Yanceyville Street, generally described as west of Yanceyville Street and north of Asher Downs Drive, 4.22 acres.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. This is the zoning map of the subject property, showing that it contains approximately 4.22 acres, and the subject properties are located west of Yanceyville Street and north of Asher Downs Drive. This is a rezoning request from R5 to Conditional District Residential Multifamily 8, and Conditional District Residential Multifamily 8 to Conditional District Residential Multifamily 8. So the CDRM 8 property actually came before you last year, and the developer has purchased the property to the south and is looking to incorporate that into their proposed development. North, east, south, and west of the request are zoned R5. This is the aerial map of the subject property, showing that it currently contains single-family dwellings. North, east, south, and west of the request also contain single-family dwellings, with multifamily dwellings farther north and to the northeast. These are the conditions that were advertised as part of the request. And in recommending approval, staff notes that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's Future Built Form Map designates the subject property as urban general. The future land use map designates the property as residential. The proposed residential request, or the rezoning request, supports the GSO 2040 comprehensive plans, filling in our framework big idea to arrange our land uses for where we live, work, attend school, shop, and enjoy our free time to create a more vibrant and livable Greensboro. It is also supported by the Creating Great Places goal to create a citywide network of unique neighborhoods offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices. The proposed CDRM8 zoning district, as conditioned, would allow not more than 32 dwelling units, to be made up of either single-family dwellings, duplexes, traditional houses, townhomes, and or twin homes. The proposed uses are similar to those that are existing in the surrounding area, and care should be taken with respect to building orientation, building materials, building height, visual buffers, and other design features to ensure an appropriate transition to lower density residential development on adjacent tracts. And with that, I can answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Any questions? Would the applicant like 2 minutes to expound on this request?
Chair Skeens, the applicant is online and stated that she does not wish to speak.
And she said what?
She does not wish to speak.
Okay, does not wish to speak. Then, without objection, we will close the public hearing. Interested in motion, questions, discussion?
I'll make a motion. Oh,
Motion?
thank you. Thank you. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its actions to recommend approval of the rezoning request for the property at 3821 and 3823 Yanceyville Street from R5 Residential Multifamily 5 and CDRM 8 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 8 to CDRM 8 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 8 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. 1, the request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan's future build format and future land use map. 2, the proposed CDRM8 zoning district as condition permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impact on the adjacent properties. 3, the request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Second, Warshay Downing.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Ms. Maggot and a second by Mr. Downing. All in favor, signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
All right, that constitutes a 9-0 unanimous vote. Approval constitutes a final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the Planning Department and the appeal fee is paid within 10 days. Anyone may file such an appeal. All such appeals will be subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 City Council meeting, and all adjoining property owners will be notified of any such appeal. Moving on, the next expedited case is 2005 and 2007 Martin Luther King Drive. This is. Are we done now? Okay. This is item Z-26-01-005. This is a rezoning request from CL Commercial Low to CDRM 18 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 18 for the properties identified as 2005 and 2007 Martin Luther King Drive, generally described as northeast of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and east of South Bimbo Road, and this is 0.43 acres. Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. Thank you. This is the zoning map of the subject property, showing that properties showing that they are made up of approximately 0.43 acres. The properties are located northeast of Martin Luther King Jr. Drive and southeast of South Bimbo Road. This is a rezoning request from CL Commercial Low to Conditional District Residential Multifamily 18. North and west of the request are zoned R5 and Commercial Low. East and south of the request are zoned R5. This is the aerial map of the subject properties, showing that they are currently undeveloped. North and west of the request contain retail sales and single-family dwellings, and east and south of the request contain single-family dwellings. And there are other non-residential uses in the surrounding area. There's a school to the farther west and a retail establishment to the southeast. This is the zoning condition that was proposed by the applicant and advertised as part of the request. And in recommending approval, staff notes that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future built form map designates the subject properties as urban central within an urban mixed-use corridor and within a reinvestment corridor. The properties are also designated as commercial on the future land use map. The proposed rezoning request supports the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's filling in our framework big idea to arrange our land uses for where we live, work, attend school, shop, and enjoy our free time to create a more vibrant and livable Greensboro. It is also supported by the Creating Great Places goal to create a citywide network of unique neighborhoods offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices. The CDRM-18 zoning district, as conditioned, would permit a maximum of 4 townhome units. The proposed uses are similar to the existing uses in the surrounding area, and the change in zoning is appropriate given its location in proximity to a major thoroughfare. And with that, I can answer any questions that you have.
Any questions of Mr. Carter? Thank you. Is the applicant here? Would they like to speak for 2 minutes in regarding to the case? All right, we understand the applicant is not here. So we will close the public hearing. Open the floor for discussion or motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for agenda item Z2601-005. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action to recommend approval of the rezoning request for the property at 2005 and 2007 Martin Luther King Jr. Drive from CL Commercial Low to CDRM 18 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 18 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. Number one, the request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan's future built form map and future land use map. Number two, the proposed CDRM 18 zoning district as condition permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impact on adjacent properties. And number three, the request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Commissioner Gilmore seconds.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Downing and a second by Mr. Gilmer to approve. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
That ends up being a 9-0 unanimous vote. This approval constitutes a final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the Planning Department and the appeal fee is paid within 10 days. Anyone may file such an appeal. All such appeals will be subject to a public hearing on the Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 City Council meeting, and all adjoining property owners will be notified of any such appeal. Next case is, turn the page, 1001 and 111 Industrial Avenue. This is Z-26-01-007. This is a rezoning request from LI Light Industrial to CD LIM Light Industrial Mixed for the properties identified as 1001 and 111 Industrial Avenue and 2906 Baltic Avenue, generally described as north of Industrial Avenue and west of Baltic Avenue, 5.28 acres. Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. This is the zoning map showing that subject properties are approximately 5.28 acres and are located, as you stated, north of Industrial Avenue and west of Baltic Avenue. This zoning request from LI Light Industrial to CDLIM Conditional District Light Industrial Mixed, north East and south of the request are zoned LI, and west of the request is zoned CM, commercial medium. The subject properties currently contain a multi-tenant industrial park. North of the request contains a newspaper office and another industrial park. East of the request contains HVAC contractors, a painting contractor, wholesale trade, and a trade union office. And south of the request contains industrial materials wholesaling. West of the request contains wholesale trade. This is the condition proposed by the applicant and advertised associated with the request. And in recommending approval of the request, staff noted that the GSO 2040 comprehensive plan designates the site as urban general within a reinvestment corridor on the future built form map and as industrial on the future land use map. The proposed rezoning request supports the comprehensive plan's prioritizing sustainability goal to cultivate a diverse range of industry sectors and scales of operation in the local economy to help minimize the impacts of major fluctuations within any single sector. And staff noted that the proposed CDLIM zoning district, as conditioned, limits available uses to those that are generally consistent with other surrounding uses on nearby properties, and that in general, the uses permitted in the proposed LIM zoning district have little to no adverse effect upon adjoining properties while allowing for additional development options. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Nelson? Would the applicant like 2 minutes to elaborate on their case? Okay.
I just had just a clarification. So we've moved from LI to LIM because of straight retail that they want to do is not allowed on LI?
Yeah, that's the reason the applicant has asked for the request. It opens up other options, actually has some residential options as well in LIM that you wouldn't have in straight LI zoning, but the retail is what's driving this request from this applicant.
Any other questions?
One more question. It already has retail. Is it a specific type of retail we're looking at?
So my understanding is that in LI you have the option to have accessory retail sales as 30% or less of an area. You also have operations that are wholesale trade that kind of would feel more like retail, and that the option here is to allow for principal retail uses that could not currently be there in LI.
So wholesale retail.
Okay. All right. With any other questions, we will close the public hearing and open the floor for discussion or a motion.
Stu Nichols, the Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes its action to recommend approval of the rezoning request for the property at 101 and 111 Industrial Avenue and 2906 Baltic Avenue from light industrial to light industrial mixed to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 comprehensive plan, and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan's future built form map and future land use map. The proposed CDLIM zoning district as condition permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Second, Commissioner Turner.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Nichols and a second by Ms. Turner to approve the request. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and raising your hand.
Aye.
That passes on a 9-0 vote. This approval constitutes a final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the Planning Department and the appeal fee is paid within 10 days. Anyone may file such an appeal. All such appeals will be subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 City Council meeting, and all adjoining property owners will be notified of any such appeal. Next expedited case is going to be 502 Norwalk Street. This is item Z 2601008. This is a rezoning request from R5 Residential Single Family 5 to CD RM26 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 26 for the property identified as 502 Norwalk Street, generally described as west of Norwalk Street and south of Railway Avenue, 0.26 acres. Mr. Nelson.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. This is the zoning map of the property showing that, as you stated, the subject property contains approximately 0.26 acres total. The subject property is located west of Norwalk Street and south of Railway Avenue. This is a rezoning request from R5, Residential Single Family 5, to CD RM26, Conditional District Residential Multifamily 26. North and east of the request are Zone LI, Light Industrial. South and west of the request are Zone R5, Single Family Residential. This is the aerial map showing that subject property currently contains undeveloped land. North of the request contains a landscaping contractor. East of the request contains automobile service use. And south and west of the request contains single-family dwellings. This is the condition proposed by the applicant. And in recommending approval of the request, staff know that the comprehensive plan's future built form map currently designates this property as urban general, and the future land use map classifies it as commercial. The proposed rezoning request supports the GSO 2040 comprehensive plans, filling in our framework big idea to arrange our land uses for where we live, work, attend school, shop, and enjoy our free time to create a more vibrant, livable Greensboro, as well as the comprehensive plan's Creating Great Places goal to meet housing needs and desires with a sufficient and diverse supply of housing products, prices, and locations. And I recommend approval. Staff note that the CDRM26 zoning district as condition would permit a mix of residential housing types limited to no more than 6 homes. The potential uses are like those of existing uses in the surrounding area, and the change in zoning for this property is also appropriate given its location and proximity to a thoroughfare. Care should be taken with respect to building orientation, building materials, building height, and visual buffers to ensure an appropriate transition to the low-density residential uses on adjacent properties. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of Mr. Nelson?
The
Or
R5,
staff.
the R5 compared to RM26. On 26, you can do single-family dwelling, of course, but you can do duplexes and twin homes, and is that the reason for the change?
Correct. So the R5 district would only allow for a single-family detached use. So the multifamily zoning then expands those to a variety of uses, which would include duplexes, twin homes, townhomes, apartments, whatever you could do. I mean, it's obviously a very small lot, so it's going to be limited in terms of what they can physically on the property, but it opens up other residential uses that are not currently allowed.
So they have an opportunity to build two
Right. They have
housing
the
units
option to do
in
some
some way.
additional residential on this property than they can do right now.
Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Any other questions? I would like to comment that we're in receipt of an email and pictures regarding this case. The email was not in opposition, but rather it listed some concerns and a request to be kept informed of future action on the property. And this email was shared with other commission members this morning. And the author of this email has requested that we make the email and accompanying pictures a part of the minutes and public record for the case, and staff has indicated that this will be done. So that was in regard to the rather lengthy email and pictures that we got. Any other comments?
Madam Chairman, do we need to show the pictures in public? I'm not.
Mr. Gilmer, given it's a legislative hearing, at the end of the day, the fact that y'all have been in receipt of that information and taken it into consideration while making your decision is sufficient. Staff will, I'm sure, and we'll figure out the exact details on it, but make sure it's acknowledged. But it doesn't need to be in the record in the same way that, say, a quasi-judicial decision like the Board of Adjustment makes, right? So,
all right. Thank you.
Good question. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't want to prolong the meeting.
We don't want to miss anything. I'm right there with you. Thank you for bringing it up. Any other comments or discussion or motion?
I'll make a motion. Item Z26-01-008. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its actions to recommend of the rezoning request for the property at 502 Norwalk Street from R5 residential single family 5 to CDRM 26 conditional district residential multifamily 26 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 comprehensive plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. 1, the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan's future build format and future land use map. 2, the proposed CDRM 26 zoning district as condition permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impact on the adjacent property. The request is reasonable due to the size and physical conditions and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and the surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Commissioner Gilmer seconds.
If I may, real quick, before y'all take a vote on that, sorry, just a friendly amendment I would offer up to the motion. Commissioner Maggott, I think I heard you say in reading the preamble to the statement, and I'm realizing that my eyes are not as good as I thought they were, that the action to recommend, and I don't think I heard you say approval, the action to recommend approval. So I think just understanding
That's
that.
why I hesitated, and then the mic was in the way.
Yes, ma'am.
I apologize.
So no, you're good. You're good. So if that was the motion, then we're all good. I just want to make sure that was clear in the minutes.
We just want to be clear. It's the motion to approve the
Motion to
request.
approve.
Yes.
It is. Thank you so
Perfect.
much. A motion to approve.
So we have a motion to approve. All in favor? Please signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
All right, that's a 9-0 vote. This approval constitutes, but good catch, by the way. This approval constitutes a final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the Planning Department and the appeal fee is paid within 10 days. Anyone may file such an appeal. All such appeals will be subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 City Council meeting, and all adjoining property owners will be notified of such appeal. Now, we need to move to the agenda as originally structured. So we are back to 3800 Pine Needle. This is Z-26-01-001 and an annexation case of PLP 2601. It's an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30 residential single family to City R3 residential single family 3 for the property identified as 3800 Pine Needle Drive and a portion of Pine Needle Drive right-of-way generally described as east of Pine Needle Drive and west of U.S. Highway 29 North, 0.63 acres. Ms. Harris.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. This is a zoning map, and it shows that the subject property contains approximately 0.63 acres and is located east of Pine Needle Drive and west of U.S. Highway 29 North. This is an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30, residential single family, to City R3, residential single family 3. North of the request is zone County RS 30. East of the request is zone County Agricultural, and south of the request is zone City R3. West of the request is zone City R3 and County RS 30. This is the aerial map, and it shows that the property is currently undeveloped. North and west of the request contains single-family dwellings. East and south of the request contains U.S. Highway 29 North. This image shows the subject property as seen from Pine Needle Drive. This image shows a single-family dwelling located north of the request on Pine Needle Drive, zone County RS 30. This is the image. It shows the U.S. Highway 29 North and it's located east and south of the request, and it is zoned County Ag and City R3. This image shows examples of single-family dwellings located west of the request on Pine Needle Drive, and it is zoned County RS30. This view is facing north on Pine Needle Drive, and the subject property is on the right. This view is facing south on Pine Needle Drive, and the subject property is on the left. And in recommending approval, staff states that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's future built form map currently designates the subject property as urban general and as residential on the future land use map. The proposed original zoning request supports both the comprehensive plan's Creating Great Places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices, and the filling in our framework big idea to arrange our land uses for where we live, work, attend school, shop, and enjoy our free time to create a more vibrant and livable Greensboro. The proposed City R3 zoning district is primarily intended to accommodate low-density single-family detached residential development of up to 3 dwelling units per acre. The request permits uses that are present on adjacent tracts, and I can answer any question that you may have.
Any questions, Ms. Harrison? Thank you. Is the applicant here to present the case? If you could come to the podium, give your name and address.
Good afternoon. Hugh Latham for Centurion Buyers. We purchased the property, the 2 lots.
Your address, Mr. Latham?
Excuse me?
Your address?
Oh, 2500 Wilpar Drive, Greensboro 27406.
Thank you. Okay.
We purchased the 2 parcels, 3800 Pine Needle and 3804 Pine Needle, to build single-family houses. The houses will blend in quite well. One would be single-story to blend in with the community. The only feedback I heard was about something about the survey at 3804. I hired a surveyor to go out and locate the corners based on the deed description. And he noted that one of the irons were slightly off and 2 was missing on 3804. 3800, the buildable area had a couple of irons that were placed incorrectly, and they marked those. Other than that, I had spoken to the Powells about it, and he said it was something about the survey. So I did order a surveyor, and he did mark all the corners and correct the missing irons. So that was about all I did.
All right, this is specifically to 3800 Pine Needle?
But okay, all right.
Okay.
But 3800 was a question about the buildable area because you have a number of right-of-ways, and he did mark and correctly make sure that we hit all the right ones were iron.
Okay.
Well, that's about it.
Any questions of Mr. Latham?
I have a question. So, Mr. Latham, thank you for being here tonight. Were there any, I know you were focused on this particular case, but were there any neighborhood outreach or communication from your perspective?
Well, no, I didn't. I had spoken to the Powells, and I went out there one day, looked around, and there's 2 houses across the street that's empty. So
okay.
No one's, as I understand, no one's living there. but it blended in with the neighborhood, so I really didn't think it was a big issue. I'm not changing the zoning. I'm not doing anything special other than trying to build 2 houses. That's about it.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Did you have a question? No. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Latham. Is there anyone else here to speak in favor of this request? All right, we'll now move to the opposition. I've got one person signed up to speak in opposition, and that is Ronald Powell. You can follow later. I just don't have your name from the sign-up sheet, so it's okay.
First of all, I want to say good afternoon and thank everyone for being here to listen to this opposition pertaining to the 3800 Pine Needle Drive and also 3804. I would like to start off by saying my name is Ronald S. Powell. I reside at 1605 Lord Foxley Drive here in Greensboro, in the city. I've been a resident for a number of years. I've been up in front of the council here maybe twice in my life. And I would like to say I oppose this wholeheartedly. The zoning is for the county, and it's been there for years. I've owned this lot at 3808 Pine Needle Drive, my wife and I. And when I pass on, I plan to pass it to my son. But to make a long story short, the gentleman that was here in front of me, he did speak with my son, reference what was the usage of my property, and I refused to entertain it. He obtained one of the real estate forms, which he was not authorized to use, and sent it to me through U.S. mail. I was a little upset by that because I am a licensed realtor in the state of North Carolina, a broker.
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing
So
this.
my concerns are simply this: safety and zoning.
Mr. Powell, we're having some trouble.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
that
you.
helps.
Sorry about that. My concerns, first of all, is safety and zoning. The street, I'm not going to try to narrow the map, but I can assure you when you come off of 29 in front of Lakeview Cemetery, it is very dangerous. Once you get over to the side where Pine Needle Drive, you got 3800, which is a real narrow, it's almost like a little triangle. And as you come off of there, you got a lot of heavy utility, overhead, Duke Energy, etc. And from my knowledge, and unless it's changed, you have to have a variance dealing with a home directly under high voltage utility wires. And the gentleman, he wanted to get city water and city sewer. I don't know if you remember, there have been some oppositions about the city. In order to become part of the city, you have to volunteer, and this is what I understand he's trying to do. I am in the county, so therefore you have to do the forced annexation, in which, if you remember the case of 2007, Cunningham versus the city of Greensboro. That was in McLeansville. There was 152 acres of land. To make a long story short, I was one of the parties in that lawsuit. Ronald S. Powell. Mr. Cunningham is deceased. Jim Penroy and myself are the only two that's left. And that was a real long, drawn-out case. But to say this on a thing, we went all the way to the North Carolina Court of Appeal. The city of Greensboro spent a bunch of money to try to get that 152 acres. To make a long story short, now we're looking at not even 2 acres of land, and the city's going to let this gentleman come in under a safety thing. Plus, I'm going to say this and wind up. Has the city looked at the EMS, the fire, coming down that little old street? You got a ditch on both sides. You don't have sidewalks. Somebody's got to pay for them sidewalks. You're going to go from an R30 to an R3, which means R30 has low density. Now you're talking about a higher density with R3. So I'm asking you to please take a look at it. No one has did what I call a, in other words, has there been a site plan of that area? Points of coming in and coming out is very dangerous. You have single-family homes, and by putting 2 or 3 homes on that little small lot is going to mess up the community. Sure, he mentioned there was 2 homes that's currently vacant. That's because the individual passed on. And just to say this is not thing. If you're going down Pine Needle and coming in, you got a little horseshoe. You got power wires. Then you got another house, a home that's currently vacant now because the gentleman passed on his heiress property, but the gentleman would like to forget that that is in the county and move to the other side at 38 and build 3804 and build a house there. And my property is 3808. Then there's another house at 3810. So once again, take a look at it very closely because this is something that we do not need. Thank you. Anyone have any questions for me?
All right, can we stop the clock a minute? Yes.
Yes, Mr. Powell, you said something about dangers due to power lines or something? Were you saying
Yes,
something?
sir. There are some heavy utility lines. When you come off of 29 and make that left, you really can't make the left anymore because they had put a barricade. You have to come off right beside that little hotel and drive on the service road. And then you come to Pine Needle Drive and make a right. And right there you have utility wires right there. You cannot build up under that utility. And that's what the gentleman want to put one of his houses under. Then you have the other house where the gentleman has passed on that's in the county. And he purchased the land on the opposite side, which is pretty narrow, smaller than what I have, and he's going to encroach my property in order to get his property done. There's a certain setback that he needs to make sure he goes with that. But the utility wires is very dangerous. If I could ask that someone would do a drive-by, as they say, put boots on the ground, and go out there, take a look at it. Boots on the ground.
Any other questions of Mr. Powell?
What was that, ma'am?
And just for clarification, you're not being annexed. No one is going to annex you. This is a voluntary.
I truly understand that,
Okay.
but I understand that I'm not getting annexed.
Right.
But I do understand that the traffic, the heavy, the density, has the city looked at with that rezoning, you're going to have more individuals coming in there, and you don't have the traffic pattern is going to be really bad, really bad. You have children that needs to go to school, then therefore you got to look at the buses, and it may have to add another bus. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Powell. There was someone else that wanted to speak.
Yes, thank
if you
you.
could come
Thank
to the
you so
podium,
much.
please. Yeah. Can we start the clock back, please? Okay.
Travis Powell speaking. I reside at also 1605 Lord Foxley Drive, Greensboro, North Carolina. And I am coming to this board today to speak on opposition. Just to piggyback on what my father spoke about, I am the son that he spoke about. Again, to piggyback on your question as well, you mentioned that the 3808 is not the property that is being annexed and that is not requesting to go into the city. I just want to add just some verbiage to that to say that it's spot zoning is what it is. And for years, when I say spot zoning, just to kind of clarify your eyebrows, you got one property that wants to go into the city, which changes city taxes, and you have another neighboring property that has been in the county for years. Also, question would be, I don't know the answer. Is there block grant money that's going to be set aside for this property that wants to go into the city, being that the taxes will be elevated because that property will be in the city? Also, those are just questions that I wanted to kind of ask, because I did my research and I came up with some questions that I don't know the answer to, and hopefully that you can explain them when you go back and, have your vote. I just want to also mention, I don't know a lot about this case, but it was just a case that came upon my research, the 1988 Crispin versus Guilford County case. Like I said, I don't know a lot about it, but it did speak about spot zoning. And I yield back my time.
All righty, thank you.
I'm glad to say 2 words about spot zoning if y'all would like real quick. Just since spot zoning was thrown out there, I'll just note the difference between a property being annexed into the city versus remaining out in the county wouldn't relate to the question of spot zoning. Spot zoning is a question of whether or not you are rezoning an individual piece of property in a manner that is inconsistent with a sea of otherwise zoned property. I was looking at the map, and everything right there appears to be zoned residential if I'm out in the county, but still it's residential in nature. So from my vantage point, not a spot zoning risk.
So this would not be considered spot zoning because it's residential, as is everything around it. And R3 is the lowest density that the city has as far as designation. And in order to get the water and sewer, it's got to be zoned R3.
Yeah.
For purposes of consistency with the low density that is around it.
Yes, ma'am. I would say that's correct. Yep.
Okay.
Spot zoning is really a determination for the courts, but I struggle to see how it would move anywhere near that direction. It just doesn't meet the definition.
Because it's all residential.
Exactly.
Okay. Just 1 second. Any other questions right now before we move to rebuttal? You'll have 5 minutes of rebuttal to address other issues.
Ms. Gaines, could I ask staff one question first?
Of course.
So I'm a little confused. But 3,800 and 38, there's an empty lot, a house, and then another empty lot. So what the house in between those 2 empty lots, those are going to be subject here, is not being impacted by this at all, right?
Right.
That's
3802 is the one in between, and it is not being subject to either of the conversations this evening. These are just to annex the vacant lots for the purposes of accessing city utilities to build a house.
And 3802 isn't here tonight. No, they're not.
No, they referenced 3808, which is 2 more lots.
So 3802 is not objecting.
I can't speak to that.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions? Let's move to rebuttal. Mr. Latham, you'll have 5 minutes.
The previous speaker mentioned several things. Number one, building under the power lines. The buildable area is 30 feet from the power lines.
I'm sorry. For the record, would you repeat your name and address,
Well,
please?
they mentioned the previous speaker spoke of three items.
She just asked if you could repeat your name just for the record.
Okay. My name is Hugh P. Latham. All right. Address 2500 Willpart Drive. All right. The previous speaker spoke of three potential problems. One was the power lines. The buildable area is 30 feet from the power lines. No house can be built within 30 feet of the power line. Number two, there's no block grants. I'm paying for all the money myself. And number three is not spot zoning because R3 and R30 is equivalent between the city and the county, as I understand. So I'm not sure what the concern is. There's houses on both sides of the street, and I'm not sure how 2 houses are going to change the traffic pattern that much. All right, thank you.
All right. Any other questions of Mr. Latham? All right.
Wait. Mr. Latham mentioned it's two houses, but this particular property is separate from the 3804, so we're just talking about
Correct,
one
right.
potential house.
He's speaking to one house
Of
on
a
each of the
joint.
lots, but right,
Yeah.
this is just for 3800 Pine Needle.
Just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
And there would be only one house per lot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
All right. Let's move to the opposition. Mr. Powell, you'll have 5 minutes if you would like it.
Thank you, Travis Powell, for the record again. Is there any other?
Address.
1605 Lord Foxley Drive, Greensboro, North Carolina. I won't take 5 minutes. But just for clarification, I just want to put this thought into this panel. There possibly is things that could be overlooked, and the reason why is that Mr. Latham mentioned that 30 feet setbacks would be met according to the buildable area for the footprint that he's putting in at least one of the properties. I'm assuming that's the pie-shaped property. And if you could real quick, can somebody pull that map up? Is that eligible right now? Thank you.
Where did it go? The clicker has disappeared.
This is not working now. We're trying to get the work.
Terrain, yes, sir. Okay, now, so, thank you. The mouse is broke, city council. Okay, so if I can click on, sir, real quick, back me up real quick. I'm sorry, back me up real quick. Okay, so real quick, got 4 minutes. So the property that's highlighted right now, I spoke about that there could be something that's overlooked, and I'm not picking on anybody, but I will say that this is the subject property here of the 3804. This is the existing home, and this is the other subject property that we were talking about as far as the power lines that were on the opposition topic. It may, the setback could be met on paper, but as Ron Powell spoke earlier, get boots on the ground and just go look at that terrain, look at some of the possible circumstances that could arise. Even though you mentioned that this subject property and this subject property is not going to be affected, but this subject property is on sewer. This subject property is on sewer. I don't want to guess about this property, but also over the past 30 years, and this is my topic on something that could be being overlooked, this property was always as one. This subject property was always as one. When this property was purchased, this subject property and these two subject properties in question today, they were always paying one tax on one parcel. I contacted your department about the structure and the disjointness of these two properties, but when the property was sold, a survey appeared, which the survey did indicate that a survey was completed. So we're missing two taxes here. We've only gotten one tax on this property. I'm not saying that to tell on anybody. I'm only saying that is because I called, I asked about the disjointness of the property, and it had been overlooked for over 30 years, and over the past 5 years, it was still overlooked only until the property was sold to show that it is two parcels now. It was always understood that this was a disjointed property coming from this property, because how can one have a property that is splitting two parcels? And I just wanted to put that on this body's mind. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else to speak in opposition during rebuttal? You've got 1 minute and 23 seconds. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing and open this up for discussion.
This is Erica Glass. Can I just make one comment? I know the individuals who object for different reasons, and I think what what it sounds like he was objecting to is an issue of taxes. I'm assuming, which is not an issue for the board. It's specifically about zoning, and if I heard correctly, the county zoning is analogous to what we would be considering this evening, if I'm correct. Is that what I heard?
I mean, I think the planning department would be able to speak to that probably better than I can, but from what I'm seeing, it looks like yes. Mr.
Yes, so County RS30 is a residential single-family district in the county, and then City R3 is a residential single-family district in the city.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
And just 2 words about the tax piece, Commissioner Glass. They're all individual parcels of land, so 2 parcels of land are being voluntarily petitioned to be annexed into the city. It's that plain.
Yeah, and just for tax purposes, that's not a consideration.
Separate.
It's not a land use issue.
And even if it was, tax department determines what parcels will be taxed and how. So.
Yeah, I mean, historically, they're all in the county, so yeah.
Right.
I just had one question. I'm losing my voice. He mentioned something about it's fitting on the land or whatever. TRC would determine that after this.
Yes, correct. But anything in terms of where a structure would actually be built and how it's built will be addressed through city technical staff through building permit process.
Right. I also want to add here is that, we're here to consider land use. And yes, I do know that area very well, right by the Lakeview Memorial Cemetery. We see the data. There's 43,000 vehicles per day. However, it says that sidewalks will be a requirement of the development ordinance. I do understand there are a plethora of accidents that happen in that area, and perhaps if one were to move forward with having city resources and developing an area, it will get the necessary attention that it needs, for the proper development. But my only point I just want to reiterate is that we're focusing on land use and not the tax base at this time.
Any other comments? Discussion? Motion.
Commissioner Keith Pearson, I make a motion we annex 3800 Pine Needle Drive and a portion of Pine Needle Drive right away. That's PLP 26-01.
Commissioner Gilmore seconds.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the annexation by Mr. Peterson, a second by Mr. Gilmer. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
That's a 9-0 vote to annex the property. Now going to the zoning.
This is Commissioner Keith Peterson. Item Z-26-01-001. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its actions to recommend approval of the original zoning request for the property at 3800 Pine Needle Drive and a portion of Pine Needle Drive right-of-way from County RS30 Residential Single Family to City R3 Residential Single Family 3 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public's interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan future built format and future land use map. The proposed city R3 zoning district permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical conditions, and other attributes of the area, and it will benefit the property owner and surrounding community and approval in the public's best interest.
Commissioner Gilmore seconds.
Okay, we have a motion to approve by Mr. Peterson, a second by Mr. Gilmer. All in favor, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
All right, that also passes by a 9-0 vote. This constitutes a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 City Council meeting. Next case is going to be 3804 Pine Needle. So we need to go through the same process. This is item PLP 2602 and Z-26-01-002. This is an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30 residential single family to R3 residential single family 3 for the property identified as 3804 Pine Needle Drive, generally described as east of Pine Needle Drive and west of US 29 North, 0.5 acres. Ms. Harrison.
Thank you, Chair Skeens. This is a zoning map, and it shows that the subject property is approximately 0.5 acres and located east of Pine Needle Drive and west of US Highway 29 North. This is an annexation and original zoning request from County RS 30 residential single family to City R3 residential single family 3. North, south, and west of the request are zoned County RS 30, and east of the request is zoned County AG agricultural. This aerial map shows that the subject property currently contains undeveloped land. North and west of the request contains single-family dwellings. East of the request contains US Highway 29 North, and south of the request contains a single-family dwelling and undeveloped land. This image shows the subject property as seen from Pine Needle Drive. This image shows undeveloped land located north of the request on Pine Needle Drive, zoned County RS 30. And this image shows the US Highway 29 North located east of the request, and it is zoned County Ag. This image shows a single-family dwelling located south of the request on Pine Needle Drive, zoned County RS 30. This image shows a single-family dwelling located west of the request on Pine Needle Drive, zoned County RS 30. This view is facing north on Pine Needle Drive, and the subject property is located on the right. And this view is facing south on Pine Needle Drive. The subject property is located on the left. And in recommending approval, staff states that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plans Future Built Form Map currently designates the property as urban general and as residential on the future land use map. The proposed original zoning request supports both the comprehensive plans creating great places goal to expand Greensboro's citywide network of unique neighborhoods, offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices, and the filling in our framework big idea to arrange our land uses for where we live, work, attend school, shop, and enjoy our free time to create a more vibrant and livable Greensboro. The proposed City R3 zoning district is primarily intended to accommodate low-density single-family detached residential development of up to 3 dwelling units per acre. The request permits uses that are present on adjacent tracts. And I can answer any question that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions of Ms. Harrison? Okay. I believe we're in good shape. Yeah, the applicant, Mr. Latham.
Hugh P. Latham, 2500 Willpar Drive. When the question was raised to me about the possible boundaries and zone, and the survey, I hired a surveyor to go out and locate the corners. This is the one he found that, based on the legal description of the property, there was 1 or 2 irons that was in the wrong place and one was missing. That was completed last Wednesday. And so that's about it on that one.
So you confirm the correct corners
Yes,
based on a
we
new
did
survey?
that. And it also confirmed the setback of 10 feet on both sides. We did confirm that it is a 10-foot setback on both sides, and that the house we plan to build would fit in that boundary.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
No, ma'am, that's about it.
Okay. Any other questions for Mr. Latham? All righty. Thank you. Anyone else that wishes to speak in favor of this request? And this is 3804, excuse me, Pine Needle. All right, we'll move to the opposition. The opposition have anything they'd like to say on 3804 Pine Needle? Mr. Powell, you had signed up to speak against. Okay. So we have no one to speak in opposition to 3804 Pine Needle. So we will close the public hearing and open it for discussions or motions.
Madam Chair,
questions?
I do want to just, acknowledge Mr. Latham and Mr. Powell. And I was doing some research just now, and that area is surrounded within a 300 feet radius. That area is surrounded by R5 and R3. And that particular area, even Pineway, is zone R7, which is kind of not similar to your neighborhood, but it's adjacent. So what am I saying? Even at, I should not use this person's address, but it's on the map, 3901 McCoy Street is R3. It is on an island kind of by itself, and it is R3. And surrounding it is nothing else is annexed. So it is not uncommon, nor is this commission singling you out at all. We just want what's best for this comprehensive plan and land use. So that is why I'm supporting it, and I'm pretty sure we're just being consistent with the model. So I just want you to know that is why. That's it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Okay. I'm ready for a motion.
Commissioner Keith Peace, I make recommendation that we annex PLP 26-02 3400 Pine Needle Drive, east of Pine Needle Drive, and west of US I-29 North.
Second, Warshay Downing.
Okay. This is on the annexation request. This is a motion by Mr. Peterson, a second by Mr. Downing to annex 3804 Pine Needle. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 All right, that passes 9-0. Now we move to the zoning piece.
Commissioner Keith Peterson, item Z-26-01-002. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its action to recommend approval of the original zoning request for the property at 3804 Pine Needle Drive from County RS30 Residential Single Family to City R3 Residential Single Family 3 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 comprehensive plan, and considers that its action taken to be reasonable and in the public's interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan's future built form map and future land use map. The proposed city R3 zoning district permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical condition, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approval is in the public interest.
Second, Ms. Maggott.
Thank you. We have a motion by Mr. Peterson and a second by Ms. Maggott to approve the zoning. All in favor, signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
That passes unanimously 9-0. This constitutes a favorable recommendation and is subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 City Council meeting. Now we will move to the next case of 2533 Phillips Avenue.
Sorry.
Very good. This is item Z 2601-006. This is a rezoning request from CDCM Conditional District Commercial Medium to CDRM 26 Conditional District Residential Multifamily 26 for the property identified as 2533 Phillips Avenue, generally described as north of Phillips Avenue and east of Woodbriar Avenue, 2.55 acres.
Thank you, Chair Ski.
Mr. Carter.
Yes. This is the zoning map showing that the subject property contains approximately 2.55 acres and is located north of Phillips Avenue and east of Woodbriar Avenue. This is a rezoning request from Conditional District Commercial Medium to Conditional District Residential Multifamily 26. North and east of the request are zoned R5. South of the request is zoned Commercial Low, and west of the request is zoned Conditional District Commercial Medium. This is the aerial map of the subject property showing that it is currently undeveloped. North and east of the request contains single-family dwellings. South of the request contains a daycare center, and west of the request contains a shopping center. This image shows the subject property as seen from inside the Renaissance Shops shopping center on Phillips Avenue. This image shows an example of the single-family dwellings that are located north of the request on West Hampton Drive, zoned R5. And this image shows examples of single-family dwellings located east of the request on Old Hickory Drive, zoned R5. This image shows the daycare facility that is located south of the request on Phillips Avenue, zoned Commercial Low. And this is the Renaissance Shops shopping center located west of the request, zoned Conditional District Commercial Medium. These are the conditions that were proposed by the applicant and advertised with the request. And in recommending approval, staff notes that the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan designates this property as urban central, and a small portion of the property is located in a neighborhood scale activity center on the future built form map. The future land use map designates the majority of the property as residential and a small portion of the property as commercial. The proposed rezoning request supports the GSO 2040 Comprehensive Plan's filling in our framework big idea to arrange our land uses for where we live, work, attend school, shop, and enjoy our free time to create a more vibrant and livable Greensboro. And it is also supported by the Creating Great Places goal to create a citywide network of unique neighborhoods offering residents of all walks of life a variety of quality housing choices. The Conditional District Residential Multifamily 26 zoning district as conditioned would permit a mix of residential housing types limited to no more than 60 units. The proposed uses are similar in that they are residential to the existing uses in the surrounding area. The request is appropriate given its location adjacent to an existing shopping center, that it is in close proximity to a major thoroughfare, and that it is partially within a neighborhood scale activity center. Care should be taken, however, with respect to building orientation, building materials, building height, and visual buffers to ensure an appropriate transition to the low-density residential on adjacent tracts. And with that, I can answer any questions that you have.
Any questions of Mr. Carter at this point?
Mr. Carter, so access to this property would be through the parking lot of the shopping center?
That's correct.
Okay. And so would bus lines would be on Phillips Avenue? Is that where the buses are? Or are they on the other street? Anybody know?
Transportation may be able to answer the question about the location of the Phillips.
They're on both sides, Phillips Avenue as well as on the other side of the library. They're on both sides.
Okay.
Any other questions? Thank you. Now we'll hear for the people that are in favor of this request, and I'm going to take them in the order in which they signed up. Goldie Wells.
Thank you. My name is Goldie Wells, and I live at 4203 Belfield Drive. I'm here to support the request from self-help for this building. We, years ago, I think self-help was 1991, when we were in need of refurbishing the shopping center. Self-help came. And so the stores we have there, it's because of them. But in our original plan for the whole area, we said ideally it would be a place that we could have for senior citizens. So it's been a long time coming, and I'm just pleased that this may come to pass. We think that it would be good for the senior citizens, and some folk may think it's going to be like old folks' home or public housing, but not. It's going to be apartments, and we feel that it would be with the amenities there. We have stores. We have a health center. We have a pharmacy. We have a barber shop that has the beautician in it. We even have a special place for that does eyebrows. We have the Second Harvest there. So we have things that would be easily accessible to the senior citizens. So I'm here to support it, and I hope that you will support it also. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the list is Zanzella Savoy.
I'm proud of you. You said that right. My name is Zanzella Foster Savoy. I live at 1502 Sir Galahad Road. I'm in favor of this senior living facility because this is something that we have looked forward to since 1991, as Dr. Wells stated. I was born and raised in Greensboro, North Carolina. I have lived in this community since 1972, since I was 9 years old, and I'm 63 years old now. My parents were very much advocates for things of this nature, and they never lived to see it come to fruition. My mother died in 2017, my father in 2021. This would have been a fantastic place for them to live because seniors now, especially in our community, there are only a few that can afford to live in other establishments. We have some that has went to Abbott's Woods and other places of that nature, but I wish that this had existed when my mother and father was here, because when you get a certain age and you don't have the income to replace a roof of a house, to replace the hatchback of a house, to have the grass cut, to replace the plumbing when the pipes freeze, things of those nature, this senior living facility would be a haven for seniors and stuff that cannot afford certain things when they have their own home. Even the taxes when you own your own property. You know, what was explained to us by Daniel, you know, how beautiful this would be, what would contain the sunroof, possibly, you know, an exercise room, and to have an elevator to get up and down when we have people living in homes currently that they were beautiful when they moved in when they were 20 and 25 years old, but now they're 80 and they have steps to try to get up and down. This is something I'm very much in favor of. We have fought hard for a lot of things in Northeast Greensboro, and as things are offered to us, we shouldn't turn our backs on them. Yes, we want quality, we demand quality, we deserve quality, and what has been explained to us is quality. And of course, I would not stand here representing my mother and father who love Greensboro, North Carolina, for a facility that wouldn't be something that would be admirable in our community. And as Dr. Wells stated, there are a lot of resources around that support that. The Second Harvest Food Bank eventually will offer more to the community than just being a food hub. We do have, you know, as she stated, Moses Cone, the barber shop, Family Dollar. You know, when my mother and father got sick or whatever, not feeling well, yes, they could have called anybody to go and get them, you know, milk or juice or whatever. But if you're there at the senior living facility, you need orange juice, you need milk, you have Family Dollar right there. You have a library that offers a lot of senior services that they can go to. This would enrich our community. And I think that this is something that we really should support, and not only for our citizens in our community that could perhaps move in there, but Greensboro as a whole, because it's going to be beautiful, it's going to be nice, and other people want to come, hey, maybe from the west side, finally, to live in a lovely place in Greensboro, North Carolina. Thank you.
I moved to the folks that had signed up, and apparently the applicant did not sign up. Would the applicant like to speak?
Yes. Yep. I apologize for that oversight. I was told I was going to be announced first and had to go first, but
Okay.
Happy to let Dr. Wells go first whenever Dr. Wells wants to go first.
Okay.
Yes, I'm Daniel Bullock. I'm with Self-Help. We're the applicant. Self-Help's a 45-year-old nonprofit dedicated to creating economic opportunity. Our presence in Greensboro includes a location downtown. It's kind of our central hub at 122 North Elm Street, Credit Union branch at 3400 Battlegrounds, the Revolution Mill redevelopment at 850 Revolution Mill Drive, and the Renaissance Shopping Center, as Dr. Wells referenced, next door at, I think, 2521 Phillips Avenue. Self-Help we have a state and a federal credit union, a policy arm that advocates for fair lending practices and economic policy, and a community development financial institution that takes on special projects. Do I need to speak closer? Yeah. Like real estate development and affordable housing. We've been developing affordable housing for about 20 years, been involved in work in Greensboro for about 30. Real quick, the subject property of the rezoning request is that vacant parcel owned by the city of Greensboro, so it is still city-owned. The property is one of 3 parcels in an existing approved integrated multiple-use development. The other land uses in the IBUD are the Renaissance Shops and the McGirt-Horton Branch Library, both of which are part of the staff-referenced neighborhood scale activity center. The subject property creates kind of a transition between the shopping center and the neighboring properties. The proposed rezoning to allow multifamily building, we provide much needed and formerly planned, as Dr. Wells referenced, residential use to that activity center. And we believe the proposed rezoning will allow the vacant property to become productive and contribute to the well-being of the city, allow greater housing choice for residents, and increase the quantity of housing stock, and address housing affordability. And we'll do so by adding high-quality housing to this neighborhood. Staff did a great job of sharing the details of the rezoning requests, where the case deemed to be consistent and compatible with the City of Greensboro's future land use map, the future built form map, and the 2040 comp plan. And I'll also say that we've, based on early community concerns, we have restricted both the building stories and density, building height, for what we're proposing. Dr. Wells started to talk a little bit about it, but we're here because we've been working in this area for over 10 years now. It starts with the efforts with the city and resident leaders from Northeast Greensboro to revitalize the former Bessemer Shopping Center adjacent to the subject parcel and support the startup of the Renaissance Co-op Market. Unfortunately, the market is no longer still in operation, but we still own and maintain the shopping center, including the parking lot and the entry that serves the center and the library. And we work to make it a place with affordable rents for local businesses and for key services. Dr. Wells did a good job talking through everyone who's there. Through that time, we've worked to stay connected with local leaders through later iterations of a resident advisory group that came together as part of that redevelopment effort. And because of this, we got involved almost 2 years ago in conversations with the city about the potential for affordable housing on the subject parcel, and in particular, attainable housing with a range of incomes. Once it was clear kind of what the terms would be for taking that project on, the chance of awarding state funding to make sure we could hit the rent targets and incomes that we were hoping for and that the city would prioritize, we started approaching Northeast Greensboro residents and the leaders, folks from that original advisory group, to see if there was also community support still for an affordable senior property here. And our initial conversations were all positive. Our understanding was that the community had been asking for more senior housing options, more investment, a mix of housing options at middle and lower income ranges. One person, actually I think it was Dr. Wells, reminded us that the senior property had been part of the long-term vision for the redevelopment 10 years ago. And after we had those conversations, we held I think a well-attended neighborhood meeting at a locally owned event space at the shopping center. to share the overall plan for the site, get folks questions. We answered questions and shared those details about an hour that evening. And as we submitted in the summary, a lot of those questions were around kind of future security for residents, other facility amenities, access to groceries for residents, the potential affordability of the project. But a large majority of the responses were positive about the need for affordable senior housing in Northeast Greensboro and in this site in particular. And we're here because it was our understanding that this is what the community's been asking for. Real quickly, what it's not, and again, echoing Dr. Wells, it's not income-based housing, and it would be privately owned by a nonprofit, so it's not public housing. It's not for housing for folks with no incomes. It is also not assisted living, memory care, or medical rehab kind of facility. It's high quality.
Your time is up, Mr. Bullock. There is 5 minutes of rebuttal, and we have Mr. Sims, who also wanted to speak in favor. So you can finish what you were saying when we move to the rebuttal section.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Right now, we need to move to the folks that
Wait. I just wanted to ask, is there an illustrious sketch or anything that you presented at the meetings with the neighborhood where 75 people came?
We did, yeah.
Could you show it to us?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have paper copies. I could also send something to staff.
Okay.
You could ask the opposition to line up. Get them ready.
There's 3 people.
No,
All
can
right.
you put it
Needs to
under-
go on the
under-
overhead so that.
Thank you. That was nice. Thank you. That was very sweet. Okay. Oh, wow. Come down a little bit. Wow.
Now, he can't have any more time. The problem is he can't explain it.
Okay, well, he can, at least we can see it, and he can leave it there.
All right. In order to keep everything going on timelines, if you'll just leave that right there, and then you can come up and explain it in your rebuttal time. Okay? We have 3 people signed up to speak in opposition. James Upchurch. Followed by Judith Upchurch, followed by Ernestine Surgeon.
Looks nice.
You got me set. Can y'all hear me?
Uh-huh.
This is James and Judith Upchurch, husband and wife.
Okay.
We've been at 2601, 2605, and 2607 Phillips Avenue. And we've been there more than 50 years. We were there before the shopping center even got there. Okay? There was a pond down there where you're talking about having
The senior homes.
the homes at the corner, not the whole place. There was a pond down there, so the city developed a way for the water to run down that way. Now, where we live right now is on top of the hill, and the water runs down in that area. And of course, there's multiple where the streets are, where the water runs. Now, I don't know where the water will run once there's some more buildings being done. I don't know what that would do. but that's something that need to be looked at. The other thing, my wife and I, not a single person, not youth, not self-help, have ever come by my place, and my place is right adjacent to all of the property that you're talking about, has ever come by and say anything. And I feel like that we were overlooked. I feel like that the planning board, I feel like the self-help, all of these folks overlooked us and not even giving us an opportunity to have a discussion. We got 3 buildings up there with children in it. And we're talking about the library. The library, we worked our tails off to get a library over there. Okay? And those kids, they walk over to the library with the teachers. And with the kids playing in the playground back there, and you know, sometimes kids do what? Go somewhere else. And I'm really afraid that our school-age kids would do that. So what?
Okay, the after-school program is adjacent to where you all had planned on putting the housing. That's where it is. The after-school program at 2605.
We can't hear you. You need to speak into the mic.
The after-school program.
And state your name, please.
My name is Judith Upchurch. Okay. I live at 2607 Phillips Avenue.
Thank you.
And we own the daycare centers that I'm getting ready to talk about.
Okay.
Okay. We have an after-school program that's back there where you all are talking about putting the housing. It's an after-school program that's at 2605 Phillips Avenue. That's what he was talking about. The children back there in that particular building. That's what he was talking about. At 2605 Phillips Avenue.
I commend self-help for wanting to get with our community to put something somewhere. I'm not clear that that's the right place to put it. All these ladies that have talked, I've worked with them for years to help develop wherever they are. I don't know if any of you all remember the Winn-Dixie that used to be there. Okay, we worked with that to get them there before they left. So that shopping center, and we worked with the Second Harvest people. And the other thing that I want to say before our time is up, every other Tuesday, there is a double line of cars all the way back behind the shopping center and all the way back down Woodbriar, all the way back down Phillips Avenue, and have my house blocked in so that they can get what? Food. But we haven't complained because we know that they need it. I am concerned about what you are doing. I am concerned what is next. I am concerned that we're going to be, that we're not going to grow. All I know is my property, since I have bought it years ago, have not raised in value. My property has lost value. And to hear somebody say, well, everything is all right, well, that's not exactly true. Everything is all right for somebody. But it's not all right for 2601, 2605, and 2607 Phillips Avenue. When my tax item come, invoice come, and I know I heard the lady said tax has got nothing to do with this, but when my tax come, my taxes are raised. Okay? But I'm really more concerned about water coming off that hill from my house down in that valley that you all are talking about rezoning. I am really, really concerned about that. Snakes, y'all know what happens. Down there where the water is, you got snakes, and we got all kinds of animals up in there. But I have to use snake away. Does anybody use snake away besides me? I have to use snake away to get those animals out. You got something you want to say?
No. I want to say this. We do not disapprove of getting housing for the elderly. That's not it. We don't disapprove that. But we disapprove at the area and where you are putting the housing. Not disapprove to get something. Maybe there's another area where you can use instead of in that area right there. That's what we're saying. Because I agree with getting something for them.
I agree also, because you can look at me and tell my age. And you know that it's about my time to find some place to go. So what I would want you guys to do, take a look. And I heard one gentleman say, maybe you need to do some boots on the ground. Well, whatever. But it's a hill. My house sits on a rocky hill right up top. And when it rains, I cannot keep my grass because the fertilizer runs down to the bottom of the hill. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Upchurch and Mrs. Upchurch. We have about 30 seconds left. If Ernestine Surgeon would like to add anything. She says she's good. All right. We now will move to rebuttal time, and we need to, let's see, if Mr. Bullock wants to come up and speak a little bit about the drawing, and then we still have Max Sims who would like to speak. So you've got 5 minutes, and gauge your time, please. Or if you want Mr. Sims to go first.
I think I would, just to make sure.
Very good.
Good evening, Madam Chair and Commissioners. Thank you very much for giving us an opportunity to talk about a project that's been 20 years in coming. Dr. Wells and I started out together some time ago talking 20-plus years ago when Winn-Dixie left.
Mr. Sims, real quick, can you state an address for the record?
My address is 601B East Market Street, Greensboro, North Carolina. I work for East Greensboro now, economic development in East Greensboro. I started off saying Dr. Wells and I have been together since Winn-Dixie was decided to leave us. And one of the things I would tell you that we worked together about grocery stores, about development, and she's absolutely correct. We talked about putting together something at the Renaissance Center, having housing, something to create an economic development viability in East Greensboro. We talked about having commercial and residential to create that synergy in East Greensboro. Now, what we did, though, when the city of Greensboro bought the Renaissance Center, they were going to put the library there on the east side of the center. And the librarians and the city of Greensboro wanted the library to come forward on Phillips Avenue to get some exposure. We at that time had some CDBG funds from the city of Greensboro. We dedicated those funds to the purchase of that land where the library is so that it could be on Phillips Avenue. But we also saw the opportunity for housing where we're talking about right now. So I'll stop you for a minute and think for just a second. When we look at housing, we want to look at the developer. We want to know what the developer offers to that. And we've got great history with self-help. Think about this. Self-help, think what they've done at Revolution Mill on Yanceyville Street. Magnificent and keeps growing, absolutely. Then think about what they've done with downtown when they created the Center of Old First Union Bank with self-help. So, therefore, we have an opportunity to know what a developer can do. We also see what they can do in Charlotte, North Carolina, Durham, North Carolina. They are quality developers. And one thing that we might want to know, the leader of self-help is Martin Eakes. He is a native of Greensboro. They talk about quality. They bring quality to the project. They understand that's where they've been from day one. So when we look at the developer, we understand the opportunity. We understand the quality of the housing will be there. And I assure you that if you go look at any of their projects, you know that self-help is about quality. They're about understanding how to put investment in neighborhoods like East Greensboro. This is our support as economic development in East Greensboro. Housing, by the way, there's not been another senior housing project in 20 years in East Greensboro. Not one senior housing project. What a tremendous opportunity that we see that development coming forward to East Greensboro that will create other development. You know, we talk about retail, and everybody wants to know who's first. Oh.
Excuse me. We only have 2 more minutes left on the clock to see the presentation of what he's shown us on the screen here.
No, I got to finish my. No, of course not.
Okay. So we.
Okay, you ready? You through with me? Very good. Understand our support.
We appreciate your enthusiasm.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm going to remind the commission very quickly that this is an illustration of the potential configuration and development. So just keep that in mind as you have the discussion.
For illustrative purposes only.
That's correct. Very much a draft plan. It is essentially designed to meet the standards of the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency to be competitive for a low-income housing tax credit award, which would be the funding source we're planning on targeting for the project. The building is on essentially the primary building buildable area. It's the flattest part of the site. It is also where the parking in the building there's 2 major constraints to the site. There's a large sewer easement that runs through essentially right in front of the building, and then there's tree conservation areas that we need to maintain. It was the city's planning directive for tree conservation for the entire 3-parcel IMUD was moved to this site, and we're trying to keep it as much as possible as buffer between this property and any of the residential areas next door. There will also be, to the question of stormwater, there will be structured stormwater detention underneath the parking lot. So all the stormwater on this site will be captured and detained and released slowly. So it won't create massive runoff down to the northeast. All of our buildings and the requirements of NCHFA, they look and feel like luxury apartments. They meet all the market rate standards. This will look from the street like a market rate building. Just because it's subsidized does not mean there is any difference in what we build compared to market rate developers. We're planning 59 units, 4 stories, and the property will have an on-site leasing office staffed. We'll employ maintenance staff, and then have a screened porch, outdoor seating area there on the kind of in the center of the L in the patio. There'll be a covered drop-off. There'll be on-site additional storage for residents, and I think I'm running out of time, but that's kind of, in a nutshell, what we're planning on doing.
Very good, Mr. Bullock.
Madam Chairman, I have a question. In consideration of Mr. and Mrs. Upchurch, I support this project, but can you make an effort to get with he and his wife about the runoff? I heard you say it's going to be captured under the parking lot. You don't have to do it tonight. Please get with them on the runoff.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Because they are very concerned about that. Of course, we would be too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. And it is an oversight that we didn't reach out directly, considering they were the neighboring property.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Mr. Bullock?
I do. So I went to the meeting on January the 8th, and it was very well attended, and it was very well done. But my understanding was this is a low-income tax credit program, and that tax credit has not been granted yet. So that's a big hurdle, but one you hope to get. But then assuming you do get past that, then a portion of these will be for like less than 80% of average median income type of residents, right? So there's a low income house, or not affordable housing component that's part of it?
Yes, so there's affordable can mean many things depending on who you're talking to. For the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency, everything for 60% of area median income, so Guilford County's area median income as a whole and under is considered affordable. That is income ranges in about 45 to 55,000 for a household, I think of 2 or 4. So we're talking about folks with income. These are either still working or folks who have income. The majority of the units are set at kind of that rental rate to be affordable to folks making in those kinds of ranges. And then 25% of the units per the program are set at much more affordable rates to be affordable to households that earn 30% of the county's area median income.
And the residents have to be 55 or older, is that what I remember?
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other questions of the applicant?
Is there anything else that you want to say? Because normally the applicant gets 10 minutes, and you've really been sharing a portion of 5 minutes twice, so and not really getting the 10 minutes. So I'd like to.
I think anything I didn't mention in my speech, I think was hit by the folks who spoke.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We are out of time, and I think we've gotten all of our questions asked, so we are going to close the public hearing.
Chair Skeens, you did rebuttal for the applicant and so just checking about any rebuttal from the opposition.
Thank you very much. We do need, if the Upchurchers would like to speak anymore, you've got 5 minutes of rebuttal time. I apologize.
It's not going to take me 5.
Okay. There's some little lights up there that start flashing when you run out of time.
I got it. I see it up there.
Okay.
All I can say is I applaud the people that's working on this for doing what they do. But I remember when we did Phillips Avenue before, across the street from the other side of where the shopping center is, where those apartments are. We worked on that forever and ever to get that done. Now we're going to put some low-income housing across the parking lot. That doesn't look like we're going forward. That looks like we're going backwards. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to need a place to stay pretty soon, my wife and myself. And we may need a place like that. But I would like to see us grow instead of just existing, because just existing is not enough. not enough. My kids, when they come out and play out there and see what's going on, they need to see some growth. They need to see something going on in the community. And they don't need to see things going this way. Had plenty of calls. My wife has had plenty of calls with the, what's that store up there on the corner name? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Family Dollar. We've had plenty of calls for Dollar General, which is right down the street. Now y'all understand what's going on there. People that can't afford to go anywhere else and do anything else, that's where they are. I would really love to see the planning board and the Greensboro boards, include the council. Let's try to wrap up things to make that community work. Because, you know, we've had Woodmere Park on one side, Forest Lake on the other side. And the houses were much different in pricing. I would not like to see us come out with housing and pricing the way that is. Thank you very much, board.
Thank you, Mr. Upchurch. There's a minute and a half. If there's anyone else who isn't opposed, would like to speak during the rebuttal time. Seeing none, now we will close the public hearing. Okay. Everybody's had an opportunity to speak.
Chair Skeens, if I may, sorry, just to sort of on the front end of discussion, I just wanted to note, certainly glad that the intended use for affordable housing didn't become a point of contention, since that can raise its own set of concerns. But reiterating, as consistent with what Mr. Kirkman was saying, the plans are of course illustrative. The nature of the project is illustrative. So ultimately the commission needs to make sure that y'all are comfortable, if approving, with the available land uses that would be opened up by the rezoning, and just basing any decision one way or the other on those reasonableness factors from the reasonableness statement. So just want to note that.
Thank you. Just reminding us that what we have in front of us is a request to rezone to conditional district multifamily 26, limited to 60 units and no more than 65 feet tall. The conditions as listed in our book, regardless of what has been mentioned regarding affordable housing. Okay, open for discussion. Questions? Comments?
Yes, Madam Chairman. I live in the community. At one time, I had that shopping center for sale, and I had 2 offers on it, and both of them fell through. I think if we look around the city at this time, we see a lot of apartments and different developments around commercial properties. You go out on Pisgah Church Road, you go out to Friendly Shopping Center, you see there's been apartments that's close to shopping centers. That's a trend. We do need senior citizen housing in East Greensboro and all over the city. What better area than to have a library, event centers, banks, doctor's offices, bus stops. You even have an event center in there that I've been to, urgent care. It has a lot of amenities in that area. And I will be supporting it, and I think it's great for the neighborhood. And there are other churches. There's one other church, I think we approved a project on Alamance Church Road that will have senior housing also, I guess, a couple of months ago. 6 months ago. but I welcome it, and I've been in the neighborhood for 40-plus years. So, thank you.
I would like to add a few things. So, just 5 bullet points. So this is probably the academic in me, but I do want to give credit, of course, to Self-Help and East Greensboro now, the gentleman as well, and to Dr. Wells and this Northeast Greensboro, all of the citizens. So this is a good example of a public-private partnership, primarily. And it is a need for a growing population of the elderly. I do want to add this segue. Economic diversity is very crucial. And again, this is the academic in me. So I'm going to say this. Low-income housing is not synonymous with bottom of the barrel, but it is one of opportunity, growth, and evolution. And I stress opportunity. So when we hear the word low-income housing, don't think negative. Let's think positive. Let's think possibility, okay? So that's my academic hat for today. Then the other part is we want to support citizens from all walks of life in this sense. But the other aspect of this, the building could have easily been 80 feet, but I believe the developer chose for it to be 65. Another component, when you see about the care of the community, they mailed it to 1,000 feet radius as opposed to a 750 feet radius. 75 people attended. City council members, Councilwoman C.C. Crawford, Dr. Wells, and others of you were there, and the mayor. So this shows that there is a commitment to the area. Why? Because over the years, they know, and the city know, that there's been strain. So what am I saying? I'm going to support this. I'm going to support this, and I intend to, because it is a move in the right direction. That's all I want to say. But I did want to clarify the low-income housing, because we want to respect people from all walks of life, from their socioeconomic status. It's very important.
May I say something right quick? Yeah, I would like to say the board has, since I've been around on the board for years and years, we look at housing as a house. We don't look at low income, high income. We look at a home, apartments, a home to people. Everybody does not want to purchase a home. So we kind of think a little different than probably the average citizen, because of us sitting here on this board and hear certain terms thrown around or used maybe that might be offensive to some people. We look at everything as a home for somebody. That's the way the board thinks. Thank you. I'm sorry.
I will also be supporting this. Like Mr. Sims pointed out, there hasn't been a facility like this built in East Greensboro for over 20 years. And Self-Help has a fantastic reputation, has done a great job, and I think this is a wonderful project. And even if it doesn't turn out exactly as planned right now, still, if we can get more housing in that part of town, that would be wonderful.
I just want to agree with all the other commissioners with what they have said.
Commissioner Keith Peterson, item Z-26-01-006. The Greensboro Planning and Zoning Commission believes that its actions to recommend approval of the rezoning request for the property at 2533 Phillips Avenue from CD-C-M conditional district commercial medium to CD-RM 26 conditional district residential multifamily 26 to be consistent with the adopted GSO 2040 comprehensive plan, and considers the action taken to be reasonable and in the public interest for the following reasons. The request is consistent with the comprehensive plan's future built form map and future land use map. The proposed CD-RM-26 zoning district as condition permits uses that fit the context of the surrounding area and limits negative impacts on adjacent properties. The request is reasonable due to the size, physical condition, and other attributes of the area. It will benefit the property owner and surrounding community, and approvals in the public interest.
Second, Warshay Downing.
Commissioner Gilman seconds also.
All three of us.
We have a motion by Mr. Peterson, a second by Mr. Gilmore, and a second by Mr. Downing. Right. If we could now vote, all in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, that passes 9-0. This approval constitutes a final action unless an appeal is submitted in writing to the planning department, and the appeal fee is paid within 10 days. Anyone may file such an appeal. All such appeals will be subject to a public hearing at the Tuesday, February 17th, 2026 City Council meeting, and all adjoining property owners will be notified of any such appeal. That concludes the agenda items. Any items from the planning department?
We don't have anything specific. We have a little bit lighter agenda next month. Right now we have 4 cases on the agenda.
Whoa.
And no, development has not slowed down, in case anybody asks. It just happens to be timing of when things hit.
Well, you know, that's a double-edged sword there. Fewer cases means fewer development. So, okay. You can't make us happy all the time, Mike. Any items from the Planning and Zoning Commission? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right. Yeah.